Good, lovely, rainy morning from Southeast Texas, where a hurricane is about to hit us. Today on How to Read Sheet Music, Part 1-3, we are going to be learning about the major scale, what is an accidental, and what is solfège. Let us begin. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is the major scale. But the first question you should be asking is, what is a scale? You're talking about this thing, right? A scale. No, not that kind of scale. You're talking about this kind of scale, right? A fish scale. Yeah? Yeah. I know what a scale is. No, not that kind of scale. Okay, so it's not a weighting thing and it's not a fish skin, so what the hell is it then, dude? Simply put, a scale is a pattern encompassing an octave, varying with large steps, also called whole steps, and smaller steps called half steps. Explaining more into the difference between half step and whole step, let's delve deeper into the definition between the two. So we have the piano. Let me show you where the half steps are. In a piano, we can see that the half steps are from C to the next black key, that's a half step, and in the case of the white keys, between E and F and B and C, you have your half steps, your smaller steps. So what about the whole step? Whole steps skip and go to the very next key. Like this. So as you can see here, we have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, back to the half step. This pattern, or this scale, is called the major scale. Now, think of the major scale like this. This typically is going to be in your more lively, more jovial kind of music. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy. Think of the W's as whole steps and think of the H's as your half steps. As you can see here, it goes whole, whole, half, whole. And if you don't want to think about the major scale between whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, which can get a little confusing, you can think about your solfège. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Or you can think about your numbers. As you can tell, do and high do is both one, because why? If we go back to the first part of the series, it's technically the same note. Now this is how you can remember the difference between the half steps and the whole steps when it comes to the major scale. As you can see here, we have numbers with little carets on top. These little carets are called the scale degrees. So between the scale degrees of 3 and 4, or if you want to think of solfège, 3 and 4 equals mi and fa. Mi, fa. We also have 7 and 1. Ti, do. These are your half steps. And if you listen with your ear, you're going to want to hear mi is going to want to become fa, and ti is going to want to pull up to do. And that's how you can remember your half steps. Now, if we look at the G to G octave, we have this. In the G major scale, it requires a skip. We cannot have the F. We need to be skipping up to the black key to go back to high do. This key is called an accidental in sheet music. But what is an accidental? Well, that's easy. I know what an accidental is. An accidental is when a baby craps himself, right? No, not exactly. Actually, not anything like that. Okay, so an accidental is like when you get into a car accident and you go, oh, I accidentaled the car. Yeah? No, that's not an accidental. So accidentals are symbols that either raise pitches by a half step or a whole step, or lower them by a half step or a whole step. Here we have a double sharp, which raises a pitch by a whole step. For example, C double sharp, which would be actually, if you hear it, it's going to be sounding just like a D. But in notation, it's a C double sharp. The next symbol we have here is, oh yeah, I know what that is, it's a hashtag, right? I internet really well. No. This symbol is called a sharp. It raises a pitch by a half step. The next one we have is a natural. It cancels the previous accidental. For example, let's say we have the singer singing a C sharp of do, which is not standard in the key of C major, but now they want it back to a C. Do. When the singer sees the natural, he or she knows to go back to the previous C. The next one we have is a flat, and it lowers the pitch by a half step. All right, the next one we have is the double flat. It lowers the pitch by a whole step. For example, if I am looking at a sheet of music and I see an A double flat, I know I need to lower it by the whole step. It's going to sound like a G, but in the sheet music, it is an A double flat. Now, in the key of G major, Do starts on G. Do, re, mi, do, sol, la, si, la. It goes like that. Still in the major scale. But the T is here on the F sharp. If we do just a regular F natural, it's a lowered version of the 7 called Te, which is not a major scale. It's a completely different mode, which we won't get into today. That's much, much later when we go into higher level theory. So what we need to do is make the F into the F sharp, matching into the pattern of the whole steps and the half steps into the major scale. Now when you do your notation, you're going to see the accidental looking like this. We will say F sharp, but we reverse it in the order of notation. Because if we put the sharp over here and say, oh, that's F sharp. This is actually now G sharp. So remember, that is F sharp. So, there you have it. What did we learn today, boys and girls, and people who do not identify as either or both? We learned this. What is a scale? We also learned the difference between what is a whole step and what is a half step. We also learned about solfège. And remember what Julie Andrews said, when you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. Most anything. I'm still trying to hit whistle tones. We also learned about a new key today, G major. So now, not only do you know C major, you now know G major, which going into the next video when we talk about key signatures, that's going to be making a little bit more sense. Which goes into the video for the next episode, major key signatures, so stay tuned. Hey guys, thank you for watching this week's episode of Melodic Maze. If you find me at all entertaining and or informative, feel free to like and subscribe and share around. Have a harmonious day.